We're going together.
So you attended school at the University of Florida.
Yes, I
Is that-
graduated. I graduated I graduated in the year 2000. And I left Gainesville in 2002. I feel the need to differentiate the fact that I was there from 96 to 2000 for college, and I stayed an extra 2 years after graduating
You did mention that.
because I'm not a complete degenerate. I am a little bit.
Well,
little bit of degenerate. Yeah,
Some
yeah,
would
sure.
argue that because you stayed to play with a band, which in some people's category is completely degenerative.
Right. But
He's actually a
like
doctor. He's actually a doctor now.
It's like 62.3% degen.
There are some degenerative situations that happen when you're in a band, so that could be described from a number
I
of
might
perspectives.
I might have participated in a few of those activities during
Yes.
that time period.
So what landed you though in?
But no, my
Okay,
question is like, is that where you were? Your musical education became formalized?
Okay. So I had let's see. Like I said, I was born and raised in the area. Took guitar lessons from a great teacher named Mark Cohn. He's ungoogleable because he happens to have the same name as a famous pop singer.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
did you
sounds-
write "Walking in Memphis"?
No, yes,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
not that guy. But
other
again,
Mark.
ungoogleable. I can't
other
find
Mark
the guy
Cohn.
because
He's on page
exactly.
276 of the Google search.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs better SEO.
But he really pushed me to learn to be a better musician, and I was under pressure from my family to pursue law school or something not
Something
music-
respectable.
some form of respectable profession. And after 4 years of college, or after 2 years of college, really, I was like, this is not for me. This is what I do not want to do. And I took music classes at the University of Florida. I studied with a great guy named Richie Stano, who was he had taught at what was at the time GIT, which is now the Musicians Institute. So lots
Back
of
then,
great-
it was all separate: GIT, MIT,
and then
PIT.
BIT. Yep. The guy I
BIT.
play with now is a BIT graduate. And that was all wonderful, but and playing
Did
the
you
band was
attend
wonderful.
out there? Wait, it's that way. The Musicians Institute
No,
in LA?
I never went to LA or anything. After the band I was in broke up, I went up to Boston, and my full intent was to go to Berkeley. I was like, man, I'm in it for this music thing. What do I do? And I arrived in Boston in September of 2002 and started taking lessons with a guy named Bruce Bartlett, amazing guitar player. Started taking lessons with him with the idea, well, I'll study with him for the next 9 months to get geared up, so I know what to expect if I go to Berkeley. And what he told me was, dude, you've got a degree, like don't spend $150,000 getting another degree just that says you can play. And I was like, $150,000, $60 a week. I'll go with the $60 a week.
No, I will say this, that at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, and now internationally, it's the only university that you can go to where if you do get your degree, it's a mark of failure. Because if you haven't gotten picked up by a touring act before you graduate, that means you suck.
Right. And there are wonderful teachers there. I studied with a guy. Bruce started teaching there in '92, I think, so, and he still teaches there. He's a tremendous player, a tremendous teacher. But I am eternally grateful for him for just kind of putting the reality blinders or the blinding light of reality in my and just saying, dude, don't spend this much money to go to college to do this thing that you're already doing. You don't need a piece of paper to prove that you can play. And I was like, man, that's really fucking relevant.
Yeah.
That's extremely fucking relevant.
From what
And-
I hear, at Berkeley, they call your diploma the piece of paper.
Yes, yes. A friend
Are
of
you
mine.
going to stick around and get your piece of paper? I don't know.
A friend of mine
Hopefully
posted.
not.
A friend of mine posted, and this was later on, posted a photo on social media saying, "Have you ever seen a $250,000 piece of paper?" Because the price had gone up by that point.
Wow, holy cow!
And just to teach and do gigs like what I'm doing, you don't need that kind of money to do that. Um, so again, I'm eternally grateful for Bruce for kind of again showing me the reality of the situation, that kind of thing isn't necessary. And I took lessons with him for 10 years, man. He would be showing me shit and be like, yeah, you don't even learn this kind of shit when you get your master's degree. And sure enough, like a few years later, living in New York, teaching in places, like dudes with master's degrees would be hearing me practice and playing shit, and they'd be like, "Hey, can I take a lesson from you? What was that? Where did you fucking learn that from? What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, this is the shit that Bruce was saying dudes with master's degrees don't even know about." So again, he was just such a great dude, so generous with his knowledge. He really turned me on to a different way of thinking about how to approach this whole thing. And at that point, I still didn't have enough experience to do my own thing, to go off out on my own, because I didn't have the piece of paper saying, okay, yeah, you've paid a lot of money, you know how to play. And when I was living in New York, I was teaching in Midtown Manhattan, like I was saying in one of the earlier podcasts about being able to see Madison Square Garden from the room I was teaching in. Working in one of those places, working with mostly adults. Previously it was mostly kids, like in the suburbs of Boston. Working with mostly adults who were like, Manhattanites, high energy, high achieving. Like, why do I have to practice these three chords, E, A, and D? Like, what's the point of learning this? How am I going to apply this to a song? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. What is the point? Well, you're going to learn songs. Well, okay. Yeah. What's the song? Well, you're not ready for that. Well, yeah. Well, let me practice that song so I can be ready for it. The people with that kind of attitude. And there's a very specific Pink Floyd song that I teach to beginners. The Pink Floyd song is from the album Obscured by Clouds. It's called What's the Deal? And 3 dots is part of the title. And whenever I would get people to that particular point, whenever I get them to that particular point in their learning, that's where the interest went exponential. That was like, oh, okay, yeah, E, A, and D, sure, yeah, whatever, G, C, D, yeah, why the fuck am I learning this bullshit? Come on, teach me something. Then they learn that song. Oh, okay, yeah, cool, this is fun. Yeah, I get this. I understand. Yeah, this is what practicing is all about. So I'm like, man, okay, this is literally the easiest song that I know how to play. What can I teach that's easier than this, that is going to generate this level of interest? And meanwhile, next door, my bosses, they're a flamenco guitar duo. If you've probably seen their shit on the internet. They started posting videos with their 2 kids as the Quarantine Quartet. And it's a family. It's a dad and a mom and their 2 kids, and they post all these videos of flamenco guitar. They're fucking incredible. They're so talented. Their students were like, uber high level for like the level of beginner that they were. And I'm like, man, and finally I said, like, man, what are you teaching these guys to get them playing at this level? And there's exercises that I write. And that was where the light bulb went off. Oh, you're just making shit up for them to practice. I can do that. I can make up all kinds of shit. So what is the easiest possible thing that you can play on the guitar that sounds musical?
Like an etude, like a Bach etude.
Yes, exactly. So I started writing etudes for my students, and they then the roster started building. I started getting more and more students, started retaining more students. Some of them are saying, "Well, this is great. Why isn't this in a book?" I'm like, man, that's a really good idea. Why isn't this in a book? So I'm like, well, who's the leading publisher of musical books, Hal Leonard. Go to their website. Don't submit anything. Don't even try to submit anything, because if you submit something, we're not even going to look at it. All right, well, shit. Who's the second biggest? Mel Bay. So go to the Mel Bay website. Don't even think about submitting anything. We're not going to listen to it. But if you think you got something really good, submit it, because we'll probably look at it anyway and not publish it, but submit it anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, that sounds
So we
inviting
can steal
enough.
it from you.
That sounds inviting enough. So I submit my book. At this point, I'd self-published. I'd put it together in a spiral bound thing at the local print shop and was just selling it to my students, and sent that to Mel Bay, and didn't hear anything, didn't think of anything. But literally 3 months later, they get back to me like, "Hey, this is awesome. We want to publish this." What? Okay. This is probably 11 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I'm like, I'm gonna start drinking rum. Celebrated immediately from that. And that became my first book.
So you have a book published by Mel Bay Publishing.
Beginner pop rock guitar etudes. And again, the idea is these are guitar techniques that you see in standard tunes. I literally took just basic ideas that you see in Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, or that Pink Floyd song, just and watered it down even more, so there's just as beginner as you can get that sounds musical, so that you're playing something that sounds like music for the first 3 months. And man, the level of interest when you start people off on shit like that versus like, play 3/4 notes on A, or sorry, play 4/4 notes on A and then switch over to the 4/4 notes on D. Yeah, I know it takes you a week to get from the A chord to the D chord, just get faster at it. The level of interest when you go from that to actually playing music and learning musical pieces, man, my retention of students shot up exponentially.
I relate to that so hard, because for me, it is really hard to learn something without doing it.
And then and then to take that deeper, one of the challenges with the guitar is like, there are a lot of easy parts to play. As a beginner, you learn the Smoke on the Water riff. You learn the Sunshine of Your Love riff. You learn the Come As You Are riff. You learn a bunch of riffs, but you can't play the entire song because you don't have the chops for it. Or conversely, you learn like Three Little Birds, E, A, and D. You learn what's it called? Stand By Me by Benny King. You learn all these songs, but they don't sound like the song, because you can't play the actual parts correctly to get it sound like the song. So that the idea behind the Etude book is like, okay, here are these things that you can actually play as a beginner that's going to get you sounding like music, and playing things that give you concrete goals to complete, that once you complete this set of goals, you'll be able to execute all that shit that you can't play as a beginner,
Mm-hmm.
So that is currently available. And then the second book,
And the name of that book is
that is beginning pop rock guitar etudes. And it's
available from Mel Bay Publishing.
Available on melbay.com, or you can link it to my website. And then there's a second book which I finished this past year. This is for more advanced students. This book is called The Encyclopedia of Pentatonic Scales. Now, as guitar players, we know the minor pentatonic scale. That's a fucking awesome scale. And we know the major pentatonic scale, and it's the same notes as the minor pentatonic scale, just you play it on a different chord. The Encyclopedia of Pentatonic Scales is kind of based on that idea, but it's 21 different pentatonic scales from the minor pentatonic scale. Major is the same thing in the book. We kind of think of it
So
as
you're like the Ted Green of pentatonic.
I'm humbled that you would say something like that. I truly hope, and Chord Chemistry was a foundational book in my guitar playing.
The Bible of chords.
Yeah, Chord Chemistry was foundational, and the Guitar Grimoire was foundational in my playing. and chord chemistry. Ted called chord chemistry chord catastrophe. He hated that book because he felt like there was no musical application to it whatsoever. He felt this is just pages and pages of chords. What's the fucking point? And then he did the second book, modern jazz and classical progressions for guitar or whatever, or he just spelled out a bunch of 1-6-2-5s or 2-5-1 2-5-1-6s or whatever, and that is a wonderful book too. But I really enjoyed chord chemistry because here's 3.5 pages of A minor ninth. That's kind of how my brain works.
Right.
I went through that book and I was like, "Oh, you could do that? I'm gonna
Right?
put that in."
Right. So and then the Encyclopedia of Pentatonic Scales is going to be basically that idea. You're gonna have 2 pages of diagrams of one pentatonic scale, but then you're also gonna have 2 pages of exercises of that same pentatonic scale. So okay, here's this fucking weird pentatonic scale. Well, how do I make sense of this? Oh, well, here's an exercise that I can play using said pentatonic scale. So and then to put it maybe into guitar players and into a guitar player's perspective, the minor pentatonic is 1 flat 3 4 5 flat 7. So what if we raise the flat third to a natural third? That's a pentatonic scale.
And that's different from major pentatonic scale.
1 3.
But it's a major pentatonic
1
scale.
3
that's
4
different.
5 flat 7.
Wow. What do you call that?
That's one of the more common ones that I've seen outside of the text that I composed, and people sometimes call it the Hindu scale. The Guitar Grimoire calls the Hindu scale something completely different. So there are inconsistencies, and my main source, my main citation for the scales is a book called the Thesaurus.
Well, wait.
Sorry,
If you're just changing the minor pentatonic scale and raising the third half step, then that's a dominant scale.
Yes. 1 3 4
1 3 4 5
5
flat,
flat
7.
7th. Yes.
So that's no longer. Well, it's still, I guess, a pentatonic scale.
And I think the reason you'll see it, if you like search pentatonic guitar lesson on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, if you search that, you'll find this particular scale labeled as the Hindu scale because it has a certain sort of Eastern quality.
Wait,
to
it would be different because there's no 2 in there.
Yep.
Ah.
Do straight to re.
Yeah. No, to me. It's all about me.
It's
all about me when it's talking about major
I'm not
and
a
minor.
solfege guy.
Come on, lead singer.
You just called me a lead singer? Oh, my
Yes.
God. I'm not okay with that. I'm personally offended.
So
The guitar player, lead singer,
gonna
even
go-
the worst.
I'm going to go straight up left with this. I'm personally offended by being.
Are you
the point is-
I
offended?
do not
Think of-
identify as a lead singer.
The point is with the Encyclopedia of Pentatonic Scales, many guitar players get very, very adept at the minor pentatonic scale, which shares all the same notes as the major pentatonic scale. What I'm truly hoping for is that this book will provide guitar players with 21 other scales that they can riff with.
Yeah.
So think of all those classic fucking Led Zeppelin riffs, all the classic Hendrix riffs, all the classic Jeff Beck riffs, all the classic Stones riffs that are like the fucking minor pentatonic scale. And here we are in the year 2025, and we've got bands that are still trying to like do shit with the minor pentatonic scale. Here's 21 other scales that we can now riff with. And I really, really hope that this is something that can move music specifically.
Yeah, because each
American-
one would have its own harmonization.
Yes,
And a
yes.
whole different set of chords.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really on a personal level, I just hope it sells well enough that I can buy a new guitar every year. On a macro level, I truly hope.
So
that,
the goal is that you're going to buy a brand new 10 top Paul Reed Smith private stock guitar. So he needs to make $10,000 a year on this thing.
Every year.
Every year. Yeah.
But the
For
bigger
life.
No, don't just say guitar. If you have a goal, you have to state it specifically.
But-
I want to be able to buy a private stock Paul Reed Smith guitar.
that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's the bare minimum. What I truly hope is this is like a, you know, there are those Chopin etudes for guitar for piano players. There are all these famous books for every single instrument, but I feel like the guitar doesn't have that book. Except for maybe the Guitar Grimoire, which again that's just a scale book. There's no musical application to.
There is that book. There is that. I don't know what it is, but that book does exist somewhere. I may even have just recently unearthed it from my own collection.
I have a 2-part question for you. I've been sitting here thinking and formulating how to ask this question. So forgive me if this is a little janky, but what advice or like what direction would you set a musician who is not formally educated in? Like, what advice would you give them to help them improve? And conversely, what advice would you give someone who is educated or being educated in music? Like, you know, because there's two different worlds almost. Two different ways of looking
I'm gonna
at
attack
it.
the first one. I'm gonna attack the first one first, and if I forget the second one, please don't hesitate to remind me. So with someone who has no formal training whatsoever, the number one thing I experience, and what I experience most often is people who have self-taught knowledge. Who I've referenced this in the past podcasts. Learn, maybe took a lesson or two, and then from there on out, learn from YouTube videos and tab sites and stuff. The number one thing I would say is work out all that shit with a metronome. And what is the most frustrating thing? Because as a kid, I had stages where I had great teachers, and I had stages where I had no teacher. And one of the most frustrating things for me was, before he moved away, my first teacher was like, just play to the recordings. Just get tunes where you can play them to the recordings. And so I did that, man. I fucking learned every single thing that I knew how to do, even if, I had to bullshit, a measure or two of whatever solo I didn't have quite down yet. Get it so you come right back in on the verse of whatever song it was. But what I never learned how to do in that stage was play that same shit to a metronome. And it was really, really frustrating because eventually I had teachers that were like, well, I don't care what you can play to the recording, play with a metronome, because I'm not playing with you unless we can play this shit with a metronome. So whatever you do, be able to do it with a metronome. And it was so frustrating as someone who's playing at the level of playing in bands that could not put on a metronome and play my repertoire with a metronome. So
yeah, that's a thing. I've met people, like I met this guy one time who could play the entire catalog, Steve Vai's entire catalog, note for note, but could not perform with another musician because he had never worked with a metronome.
Rhythm,
and that was useless knowledge. Because
yes, because the rhythm is the most important part. Without rhythm, there is no music.
So who's leading who when it comes to that?
The time is leading the drums and the musicians.
Right. So to your point, Adam, right? So I've played with a few soloists who don't normally play with a full band or whatever.
Mike Furrow.
Gus.
Gus.
And it's hard because they're not used to playing with somebody else. They have their own rhythm, style, cadence.
I have done that kind of thing as well, where someone hires me as a soloist to play on top of their rhythm guitar and singing, and I'll start. The key with improvisational melodies is contrast. You play a melody, da, 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 da,
Right.
You play the exact same
just-
notes just on the offbeats in the next measure, and that will throw that motherfucker off so fucking hard. I can't put enough fucks into the sentence. To the point where they've like you're too jazzy, man. You're too jazzy. This isn't work. Like, no, I'm not too jazzy. You can't fucking keep time. So
Yeah.
that is again, just getting back to it. The rhythm is the most important part. You
Did you hear what he said?
know, we
We discussed this.
as
Rhythm is
human-
the only thing that makes
whether
noise
it's
into
the-
music.
That's right.
Whether it's the
That's right.
biped,
If you're having sex, is it better to have rhythm when you're having sex or riff when you're having sex?
whether it's the biped, nature
He
of
knows.
the way
He
we
knows the answer.
stand, or the 4-chambered heart nature of the way our heart beats.
Yeah.
We feel shit in 4/4 time.
But our heart beats in a swing beat.
which is why jazz is so much better than anything that's straight.
Boom, 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 boom,
Oh
boom,
man.
boom. That's a swing beat.
So this is totally cool. Yeah,
Can I-
this is
Part 2 of my question
Part two.
Oh, he's not. letting me off.
was basically the same question, but geared towards those who are learned or currently learning and maybe are just starting out, figuring out a career in music. What kind of advice would you give towards those people?
Well, I would say that's part 2 and part 3.
Okay.
Part 2 to the heavily learned, play the fucking blues. Buy a Stevie Ray Vaughan album and learn that entire album note for note by ear. I was seeing recently a saxophone player who was like, he was posting all this like, holy shit, my mind is blown. Like, I cannot fucking believe this guy. What the fuck is this shit? This is the sickest shit I've ever transcribed in my life. It was a sax player transcribing Stevie Ray Vaughan. And he was posting, he's posting videos of himself playing along to Stevie Ray. Saxes play in E flat and in B flat, and Stevie Ray tuned down a half step.
E
So,
flat.
yeah. So Stevie Ray's keys are easy for sax players to play in, and again, this sax player was saying learning Stevie Ray was the most mind-blowing shit he'd ever learned, because it was the most far away from Mars shit he'd ever like even thought of. And as guitar players, like,
No, this is
we're just like,
it's home base.
That's like,
normal.
what are you talking about? That's like, that's
What
like,
is he-
that's
was
like
he
the first
like a-
3 months of learning how to play the guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
where
like-
did
that's
this
like what
guy
you
come
do.
from?
That's just what you do.
It is amazing to me that people grow up without a blues tradition.
Yeah. So for the learned musician, I would say again, put on the blues and just learn how to play the shit by ear. That's key, because that's the kind of thing if you go to a jam session, whether you go to a blues jam or just an open jam or whatever, everything is blues based, and you don't. Oh, okay. I have the sheet music for my version of whatever tune that I do. Here's the B flat chart if you're a trumpet player, and here's the E flat chart if you're an alto player. You just fucking play the shit,
no.
man.
No, there's none of that.
So that's the contrast that, and then I'm sorry, I said there was a third aspect.
It might have been the part of people starting out building a career in music.
Man, I studied history in college under immense pressure from my family, and my family is incredibly supportive. They love what I do. My parents come to every single show that I do. My sisters come to every single show that my parents don't go to. They're so incredibly. They ask me about like, oh, how's this gig? What's that gig like? Are you writing any new songs lately? What are you transcribing right now? They're so incredibly supportive. But they're like, maybe do this as a side thing. Maybe you should go into law. And looking down the barrel of law school, I'm like, fuck no. but so what I have to do, because what I do as a living, I teach guitar lessons. I've just finished my second book on how to play the guitar. I was assuming the Encyclopedia of Pentatonic Scales would have been out by now, but there's just delays every time I reach out to Publisher. Oh, we gotta fix this, we gotta change that. I'm like, just tell me everything and I can like fix it, please. Um, I do that. I do the guitar lessons. I run a cover band. I run a jazz trio. I pick up whatever gigs doing original music that I can. Um, I've since I've been living back in Florida, I've gone to New York City at least half a dozen times to perform. I go to NAMM every year to network with brands. Um, what I would say the most important things are to do is know your shit, both musically and orally. AURALLY, by ear, orally. Um, know your shit musically and orally. Um, know how to run a business. You've got like I've got to do spreadsheets. I've got to send invoices to clubs. I've got to run all of my income through that I can't think of the name of the program right now because you guys keep feeding me rum.
QuickBooks?
Through QuickBooks, thank you. Yeah, through QuickBooks, so my accountant can do my taxes. I have to categorize every single expense. I have to I have to run Google ads for my guitar lesson business. I have to run my own website. So in addition, it's like there's this Mitch Hedberg joke about comedy where they're okay, you tell jokes, can you write? It's like if you want to be a musician nowadays, it's like okay, cool, you can play music. Can you be an accountant? Can you be a web designer? Can you be a graphic designer? Because man, I got to do all that fucking shit on top of like practicing my craft and practicing my instrument. And I am not complaining in any one bit. I love what I do, and I'm so incredibly blessed to be able to do what I do especially in today's society, where you know the appreciation for the arts is declining every single year. I'm so incredibly grateful for what I do. But man, if I had known, if I had just known like 20 years ago, oh yeah, hey dude,
yeah.
you should like also learn how to design a website and like do QuickBooks and like run Google ads and like all this other shit. Like, man, it would have saved me a lot of headaches currently to not have to deal with learning that now. So the short version is on top of being a phenomenal musician, because there's tons of phenomenal musicians out there. The musicianship is not the only part of the process. You got to be a business owner, you got to be a web designer, you got to be a graphic designer, you got to be an accountant, you got to be all this other shit too. So in addition to studying music diligently, study graphic design, all the computer related shit diligently too.
You learn so much, learn so much more for sure. So, well, cool. I think, yeah, cool. I appreciate you hanging out a little bit extra.
Man, I had such a great time hanging out and talking with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. You showed me some good rum too. What is that?
Yeah,
What is that stuff again?
You take the rest of it. Take it. So
I appreciate that. It's delicious.
Yeah, that way you won't have to write it down. You can just have the bottle with you.
Put off there. So actually, I put it in a fancy box for you too. So when you get pulled over,
Right,
what she
exactly.
said.
Is that the original box?
that's the original box. Yeah.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all part of the. Like I was telling you earlier, was all the podcasting stuff started out of a show called Drums and Rums, and all that was two words that rhymed, two things I was into, and that's how it started, right? But
And then he started trying to hit the rums and drinking his drums and
Yeah.
it was a switch.
Ron Zacapa.
yes.
No, you had me try a couple, and
Yeah.
the first spiced rum was very, very good. It was
Yeah.
so incredibly smoky, and this was so good. It was like, I want
a little bit
this
more
stuff.
aged. Now the 23, it's funny. We talked about this last podcast. The 23 does not represent the 23 years old. So a Solaris system is where they take
It,
a little.
represents the fact that you'll try to hit on a 23-year-old girl
That's right. Yeah, it's like,
after
I
you
can-
drink that.
I can pull that. But yeah, I've got
And
all.
then the second batch that I tried, it was towards the front of the pocket in the fridge.
is that
Yeah, that was what was
same?
it?
Okay, yeah.
That was really good too. It had what would you say was allspice?
Mm-hmm.
It had like hints of allspice in it, which was like good. And I didn't not like it, but this stuff
So what
was
rum do you
so
normally
fucking
drink?
good. I usually drink the Kraken.
Okay, yeah. So that's so technically, again, we're getting a little uber nerdy on it. Is spice rum is
School-
not
sc- yeah, school me.
considered? Yeah, spice rum's not really considered rum. So Captain, even like some, especially if stuff is not even 70 proof, it's got to be 80 proof really to be considered rum.
It's got to be 80 proof to be considered.
I'll tell you right
rum.
now, if you go in a liquor store and you go grab a bottle of Kahlua, on that bottle of Kahlua it says actually rum on it. Is that rum? So when it comes to the world of rum in the U.S.,
Kahlua is coffee liqueur.
I know, but it's you go look at that bottle and they just have rum. So in the U.S., it is definitely a lot more Wild West when it comes to rum than any of the other spirits. Right? Obviously, we know bourbon is made in one area,
Bourbon County,
Bourbon, right,
Kentucky.
right. Scotch is made in Scotland.
Right. If it's
Champagne is made in Champagne, right?
If it's
So-
not made in
Yeah.
the existential region of France, then it's just sparkling anxiety. Right.
So there's so there's a Florida Rum Society. There's a whole big Facebook group.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then there's a big rum event coming up in Key West. There's a lot of rum events around. And a lot of it is that people are more accustomed to drinking a lot of Caribbean rum, right? Especially Barbados, that's a big place. So my wife is typically a Captain drinker, right? That's pretty much
Captain Morgan's.
Captain Morgan, right?
Okay.
70 proof rum, 70 proof, right? When again, like what I just said about the spice rum,
70 proof non-rum
Right.
that's marketed as rum.
right? Yeah, because it's spiced, right?
Okay.
Spice rum is not even considered rum, let alone it's not even 80 proof, which it should be, right? So that's 80 proof. All the stuff you tried tonight
thi-
is all.
this is-
God bless
This is the bare
America. You can
minimum.
sell some shit that ain't even rum and call it rum.
Probably, yeah, sure, for sure.
You are currently selling ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So like now I have stuff at home that is very agricole is very earthy, grassy type, like funky stuff. I've got Jamaican rum that'll fucking blow your. If you're like, it's one of those.
and you don't mean like the Appleton shit, like
Not just Appleton, right? But there's
where on the scale of what you're talking about is Appleton? I'm trying to figure
Appleton's
out.
are pretty good, right?
Okay,
There's even I have a bottle around here somewhere.
Well, Chris from
And
Knox
then
and Dunn's
I
got
used
started
to-
with
Well,
Appleton,
that's
right?
That's
He's
right.
one-
Yeah, our sponsor, our
Our
title sponsor from
sponsor
last year,
year.
is a local rum company it's made here in Florida called Knox and Dunn. It's 80 proof. No, I'm sorry, 86 proof. And the guys that started this company actually used to work for Appleton. And
Okay, and then the other rum that I used to drink all the time when I was up in New York was I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, Brugal.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's some
70
good
proof
stuff.
garbage or is that
70 proof stuff.
Yeah,
Technically non-rum rum.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
It's
of
a
people
non-rum.
say is whatever you prefer, right? And,
Well,
and that's
I-
whatever
I-
you're comfortable with.
And I say that, and I say the same kind of shit to my students. When they're like, "Oh my god, I love John Mayer. He's so good." I'm like, "Yeah, his timing is perfect, and that's why people like him." Meanwhile, I'm
Right.
like, "Yeah, fuck John Mayer. He fucking sucks." So what I'm trying to learn here is where in the scale of like what people think about rum,
Yeah.
and where the rum snobs are coming from versus what I understand about what I think about rum, which is like I'm at the point where I've never met a rum that I didn't like. So,
Well, I'll give you a good example. It's like, there's a place one night we were hanging out and it was owned by the Haitian family, whatever, up in Port St. Lucie. And
The Barbacoa.
Barbacoa, it's Haitian
Four
rum.
corn
Haitian-
bourbon court rum
Yeah.
is delicious.
Haitian rum.
Haitian rum.
Most
is
people
freaking
are not. I
great.
think most people that have had rum, Bacardi, right? Bacardi and Captain make up 50% of the market.
Yeah, Bacardi
Right,
and Captain are just like
They're
spam
staples.
compared to.
Right. So just like his Jack,
Steak.
right? Just like his Jack and Coke, Captain and Coke. It's super been marketable. It's easy for people to remember. So Barbecue Haitian rum tastes nothing like your Puerto Rican rum. You know, it's such a different profile.
delicious.
Again, that's why when my wife won't drink most of the stuff that I have in the house because it's too earthy for what she's accustomed to, and it will blow your fucking mind when it comes to your taste.
What I'm trying to figure out is where with what I know about rum, because I'm at the point where I've basically abstained from any other alcohol. Rum is my go-to beverage, but I'm drinking like the Kraken, that guy from Steel Tie with the octopus.
right, yeah.
So I think I'm highly,
Gotta try some Knox and Dunn.
I'm at the point where I'm like, maybe able to strum a few open string chords, but if you hit a bar chord, I'm like, oh, what is this bar chord thing? I don't know what this is.
Trying something new, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I'm trying to figure out
I
more
drank
about,
that-
about this kind of stuff. So
the-
what I'm trying to figure out is what do you mean by this earthy thing? Again, I don't know like what these brands are. I've never heard of these lines of rum that you're talking about.
Right. So
Before you get into that explanation, can you say it on the microphone?
Oh, sorry. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Have you
okay.
been drinking or something?
I don't know. I thought we were wrapping up here.
What the hell?
We haven't have rum 101 here on the Riffs and Rhythms and Rum podcast. You know, that's maybe I should just do is finally start Drums and Rums back up and just merge it all in. So
You have merged it. Look, you
There we
got
go.
some
Yeah, it's something
plantation
different. Yeah.
3-step. What is it? 3-star.
3 stars. Yeah,
3-star plantation.
it's actually pretty good.
Plan-
cost wise.
planter- planter rum.
Plantaray. They've rebranded it because of plantation. Same company, but so when I talk about a grassy agricole is made from cane juice as opposed to molasses.
Oh.
Right.
Cane juice sounds like a stripper name.
Welcome to the main stage, cane juice. Main
Cane
stage.
juice. She likes long walks in the bar and anal sex.
Whoa.
Because she juices that cane.
Yes, that's right.
So it is it's such an
That's not
more of an
eczema.
aromatic.
That's bukkake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you
I
want-
don't think I've ever tried something made from cane
Yeah.
juice rather than molasses.
And
To my knowledge.
Yeah,
At
so a
least.
lot of these that are like made down in the islands or like in Haiti, a lot of these distilleries or where they do all the fermenting is out in the jungle.
So how would I know if I'm at what's that place, Total Wine,
Right.
And I'm in the rum aisle and I don't want to I want to find something like this as opposed to some kind of bullshit made from molasses. How do I know?
It may not say on the bottle made from cane juice, right? You may just need to know, it's one of those.
There was a rum that I tried a year or two ago. I want to say it was the Palm Beach Distillery.
Okay.
It was the most amazing rum I've ever had in my entire life. I've never had anything like it ever since.
Okay.
It had this like vanilla flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I
Yo.
mixed it with I usually drink rum and soda.
Yep.
Mix it with soda water, drink it. It tastes like
Yeah.
a vanilla Coke
Yeah.
or like a cream soda or something.
Yeah.
And I've since then, up until then, and since then, never had anything like this particular bottle of rum, and haven't seen it ever since.
Really?
That man, who was it that makes it? Demon rum? Was that rum?
With the cocoa?
Demon rum?
That was present at the festival.
Yeah.
That's where I got a bottle of it, and it had a vanilla-y.
Yeah, probably. Tropicoco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure. It had a very vanilla
He
like
just drank it. He didn't
aspect
read the
to it. It was really good.
Well, no, he had the spice, but I don't know if there's the Tropicoco is in there or not. The clear stuff. But-
I just remember it was
you
called
think-
Demon. I don't remember.
yeah.
You think what I had probably had spice in it because of the vanilla?
I don't know what was in the door. I don't remember what you had. What was it? Clear or was it?
It was
it color?
it was clear.
So probably that's what it was. The Tropicoco, right? So that wasn't necessarily spice per se, but just some of their flavor profile. They've got it 80 proof, and it's got those flavors and
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Buy some more of that, but also try Barbancourt rum.
Yeah.
Barbancourt.
Yeah.
Barbancourt is what it reads.
You'll find in the store.
But
yeah.
if you're Haitian, you call it Babaku.
Man, I was at Du Bois Park the other day, and there was like a sign on the wall as I'm taking a leak, say, do not dispose of diapers, toilet paper, or paper towels, that kind of shit in the toilet, and it was in
Creole.
English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole, and I'm like sitting there taking a leak, like, okay, English, okay, Spanish, Haitian Creole, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second, this is just French that's spelled wrong. Produit de papier. And it was like PWOD. It was like, wait, this is just French that's spelled
Somebody's
wrong.
spelling it wrong.
So,
Translation.
speaking of Creole, that's funny. To be determined if it's going to continue right now, but I also worked for another podcast that was a Haitian Creole podcast, and they had me come out to film for the Haitian Flag Day festival that was at the Civic Center, and I did not realize how massive of a Haitian population we got here.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I knew they were present. I did not know how
Yeah.
I did not know how big it was.
Yeah.
Very cool
Yeah.
music.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I used to-
Caribbean culture is.
I
just
spent
so-
time in Haiti, and I used to work with the Beatles of Haiti is Taboo Combo. I used to work with them a lot.
So, but yeah, there's a whole big, there's so much in there. Rum can be made really or distilled really anywhere. I've got rum.
I don't know. I thought in order to be considered rum, it had to be made in Puerto Rico
Nope.
because there was a big thing about that. And now I listened to a story on the radio.
Yep.
Of course, we can't trust the media for anything. But there was you know what it was?
Here goes Kevin with his fake news again.
Historically
basically it was just distribution wars. It wasn't about whether or not it could be
just
defined or not.
yeah. No, I think there's something that a lot of it's pushing is they call the GI is geographic in.
You've been pushing someone's GI?
Yes. You wish.
No, not as long as it's not me. I'm cool with it.
No.
Is there a free shower involved?
That was like a geographical indication or something like that, where places, especially like Barbados, they're trying to do like what Scotch and bourbon does. It's made here. It's
Well, it's
got,
a Caribbean-wide thing.
right. So there's a lot of people that own, have a company, and then they have somebody else in Guatemala or Nicaragua or Central America that are making the rum, but they're rebottling it, and so I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing, but they make rum in Georgia, and they have their own estate where they are growing their own cane in Southwest Georgia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and what's going to be real interesting, and I actually was going to be some content I thought about putting together is for Drums and Rums is with Trump's big push about changing the Coke profile to sugar off of corn syrup. Yeah, this is something that he's been touting, saying changing the Coca-Cola flavor, Diet Coke or whatever, from high fructose corn syrup to sugar cane.
Yeah.
Well, this
there are
country.
sodas already for years. It's like made with cane sugar.
So
right on
well,
there.
it's called, but cane sugar. If any Coca-Cola product's made with cane sugar, it's called Mexican Coke, because that's how it's made in Mexico. But in the U.S., it's corn syrup. The U.S. does not have enough supply.
Corn syrup is bad for you.
They do not have enough sugar in the U.S. to keep up with the demand, let alone changing Coca-Cola products. So they're going to have to import sugar from elsewhere. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. But I was going to think about doing content about how that could impact rum companies and acquiring, sugar and to make molasses and things like that. If they go this route where if Coca-Cola does switch to corn syrup off of corn syrup to sugar, that
Which
being-
they should. It would
But
be
there-
nice.
it's an interesting. You dig into when Coca-Cola changed their profile off of from sugar, because everybody wanted low calorie, low sugar, sugary drinks. And I don't disagree about corn syrup. I mean, all carbonated soft drinks are really bad anyway. Right?
Fructose corn syrup is
Yeah.
bad for you.
So, but that's why you just drink your drinks neat and nothing else.
Corn turned into whiskey is good for you. But it's not boiled into high fructose corn syrup.
Fair,
It's just
yeah,
fermented corn.
So, but
Way
yeah,
different.
Yeah. So I was just saying, Adam was I interviewed a guest in the Make Rum in Southwest Georgia. They have their own sugar fields. They actually used to be a big area of sugar plantations in. So they're like the only or one or the only single estate rum. Basically means the product is made entirely from their own sourcing, right? No getting sourced from here or there or whatever. So totally interesting. It's called Richland Rum. It's it's American. It's American rum.
I love brands that do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it really harkens back to the artisanally made products
Yep.
that
Crafty
we-
kinda, yeah.
the things that are truly crafted.
We bring the mic in a little bit, please. Thank you.
That it brings back the harkens back to the idea of products that are truly crafted. One of the things that I really enjoy about going to the NAMM conference every January, I've gone twice so
wanna go to one
far.
of
I've
those.
gone twice so far. I intend on doing this annually because if you're a musician, there's no reason to not go and try to network at these things. One of the things that you experience there is as a guitarist, at least, there are all these brands that are vying for distribution in the United States, and you will have the best luthier from Poland in this conference center. You will have the best luthiers in Italy displaying their wares in this conference center. And another cool thing is the way the conference works is they kind of group all of the continents together. So you'll kind of walk through the China area, you walk through the Japanese area, you walk through the European area, the Eastern European area, the Western European area. I mean, if you've not been to this thing, imagine the vibe of Guitar Center on a Saturday afternoon, but it's the size of like 5 Costco's.
Anaheim Convention Center.
Absolute chaos. Yes, easily, probably. I don't even know.
All those downstairs.
30,000 people there, probably.
Yeah,
at
all
least.
I
those are
really want to
downstairs,
go
right?
to one of those because I'm really fascinated with all the recording tech, broadcast
Gear.
tech.
Oh, and that's
Oh,
and
it's-
that's a
it's
whole
like
other, that's a
OMG
whole other
overload.
building. That's a whole other building from where I'm hanging out in the guitar area. I have played so many amazing guitars at these conferences. The first year I was there's a brand called Saito. They don't have distribution in the United States. I intend on going to Wolf Guitars up in Jupiter and talking to them and be like, dude, you guys got to get these guitars. These are the best Strats I've ever played in my entire life. They just started doing like a Les Paul. They do like Strats, Les Pauls, Strats, Tellys, and Jazz Masters, and just started the Les Paul this year. Amazing freaking guitars. Those are the best that I played 2 years ago. This past year, there's a brand called Still Blue. Same thing. Strats, Tellys, Jazz Masters, Fender-y kind of guitars. Man, I picked up this Still Blue guitar and played it, and I was doing some shit or whatever, and then put it back to go walk away. A half an hour had elapsed. I was that guy that was sitting there playing guitar for a half an hour, and I didn't even realize it. I don't want to be that guy. I don't like. I'm trying to network and make friends here.
Right,
Not have. Oh god, this
You're locked
fucking
in,
guy's still
right.
here noodling.
Yeah.
I got a guitar question.
I have a guitar answer.
So this might apply to maybe all instruments, I guess. But I know in the guitar world, y'all are really excited about the different types of guitars and the quality of them and everything. and every guitarist I know has a collection of guitars, basically. So, but I know that in the making of a guitar, like what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people have subjective qualities that they look for, like the material affects the sound and the string, all these things. What are like objective qualities that you look for quality wise?
Yeah, that's such a great question. That's such a great question because it is such a subjective thing. Because you have guys out there that are like, I'm a Telecaster guy. I don't play Les Pauls. Or they're like, I'm a Les Paul guy. I don't play Strats. There's that whole cadre of guitar players, and I get it because there's a Strat is a completely different beast from a Les Paul. They do different things. They have different jobs.
They have to be treated in different ways. You can't do the same thing.
Exactly.
On each one.
And then that was what I was going to segue into.
How so? Because I genuinely don't even know where to begin on that.
So on a musician level, you don't play a Les Paul the same way you play a Strat. They have different scale lengths. The strings feel different. You got to set the amp differently so that it sound and that's the thing I wonder about with musicians that are like, I'm a Strat guy. I don't play Les Pauls or whatever their preference is. Like, have you tried fucking with the amp? Like a Les Paul is mahogany with a set neck and a 24 3/4 inch scale. All that shit contributes to warmth in the instrument. A Strat is a 25.5 inch neck, so it's the strings are tighter. The bolt-on neck creates brightness. The alder or ash creates brightness. The maple neck creates brightness, regardless of whether it's a rosewood or maple fingerboard. All that shit creates brightness. That's gonna do a different thing in the amp. Like, bro, change the settings. Like, try fucking with the treble.
So
and the bass.
I see where you're going, and my best
what
analogy.
you're bringing up right there is exactly where my mind was going. Every time I hear guitarists talk about the differences, I go to think about, well, especially with electric guitars, I guess, most of the time you're not hearing the pure sound of the guitar anyway. So couldn't you just modify it to sound how you want?
No, well, yes and no, because like what you said, mess with the amp.
Yeah.
If you want a Strat, like let's say you need more fatness out of your instrument, and you're playing a Strat, turning up the meat on your amp and picking up a Les Paul are going to give you two completely different effects. And it's not just that one can be made into the other. They truly do different things.
So in my head, I'm drawing a comparison between like the difference between like a dynamic and a condenser mic. Like they're different tools.
Well,
they're different
maybe-
tools you
maybe
use for different settings.
Different tools and
Theoretically, you could process them to sound the same.
Yeah, I mean
but the
Michael
process is
Jackson.
completely
Michael
different.
Jackson sang the Thriller album on the SM
7B.
Yeah, that mic that is typically an instrument microphone live, not a condenser mic, right? So you can take the wrong thing and use it in the right space. Mike Stern plays jazz on a Telecaster. Ted Green played jazz on a Telecaster. There's all these cats that play jazz on a Telecaster, which is a country guitar. That's the wrong guitar for jazz. But no, fuck that. It's right because they sound fucking amazing because they're good musicians. Now
And
the other thing to speak to that I think that you're asking about was there's this other, and I apologize because I hate to say shit like this because it sounds cheesy, and it is cheesy, but there's this certain je ne sais quoi when you pick up the right instrument and it just speaks to you.
Makes
And
sense.
there you cannot put a label on that. There's just a thing that happens. And I love all guitars. You know, in a room full of guitars, the first thing I'm gonna grab is a Strat. And there's a certain thing that happened with Strats in the 50s and 60s, but those you can pick up a Les Paul and there's a thing to it, and you can find that thing that happens when you play it. And again, we're like super abstract right now, and I really wish I could be more concrete with explaining what this is, but it's like that thing where you you're shopping for a pair of pants and you don't know what you're looking for, but you just put them on and you're like, yeah, these are my pants.
I guess I can draw the comparison again back to microphones because it's one of my interests. You know, I don't play an instrument, but I mess with microphones all the time. I have my preference towards like dynamic mics a lot of times because of the work that I do, and I've come to really, really particularly like SM57s over most everything else, even for podcasting actually. And so because it just feels right, it sounds right to
Right,
me,
yeah.
and it works in such a way that allows me to work in the way that I want.
It captures a certain thing. Yeah, absolutely. And I think guitars can do the same thing because, you know, one of the things that I've done is a lot of stuff in the jam band scene. And in the jam band scene, Trey, for at least at the time where I was most active, Trey was the guy, the Trey Anastasio, the guitar player from Phish. He was like the dude that was the top cat in the scene. And his tone and his playing style, it's this thing where if you go online, there's tons of luthiers that will build exact clones of his custom built guitar that, you know, you can buy this bespoke guitar for, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 instead of the $60,000 that his luthier asks for the build. And then there are guys that post their videos on Instagram and YouTube of like, oh, here's, you know, I learned Trey's solo from whatever tune from 7/13/19, and you know, I learned that whole solo, and here's my video of it. And you know, they do that thing, and they get the sound. And one of the things that I noticed when I was doing a lot of gigs in the jam band scene about 10, 15 years ago was I was playing a Strat. And people were saying to me, dude, how are you getting the Trey sound from a Strat? Like, it's not the guitar. And maybe this would be the subject of another podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the guitar, it's the way you touch it. It's the way you attack the notes
talked about
that
that
gives you
with-
the
Yeah,
sound.
that has more to do with anything.
When I was exactly when I was living in New York, and this was just another one of the cool experiences that you have when you live in a place like New York City. I went to go see the drummer for the Trey Anastasio band play at the Iridium in like Times Square or something. Trey showed up and he sat in with Russ Lawton's band, and he was playing a Strat. And Trey still sounded like Trey playing a Strat. He was just he was just Trey playing a Strat. So that's the other factor in that equation is it doesn't matter what guitar you're playing, the player is still going to sound like the player.
Right.
Yeah.
All you know, Jimi Hendrix is well known for playing a Strat, and those last recordings were where he was like in Hawaii or something. He was playing a Gibson Flying V, and he still sounds like Jimmy. It's just Jimmy on a Flying V.
Yeah.
The most David Gilmour, another world famous Strat guy. Like, oh my God, I love David Gilmour's sound. I got to get that sound. I'm playing a Strat. I got to get that another brick in the wall tone. Another brick in the wall is a Gibson Les Paul. You know, and it's the player and the way they touch the instrument, not the instrument itself that's giving it the sound. So I guess as the third factor in that equation that you were asking about, like I really think, and again, I hate saying it, it's the way the instrument makes you feel when you pick it up. And there is like consistency, I guess, in the way a certain instrument feels. You know, Strats in the Venn diagram of guitar tones, Strats are probably a completely different circle from what a Les Paul does. But if you like, you know, if you like Les Pauls, you can still kind of get Strat-ish tones if you touch it the right way and you set the amp the right way and you put the pickups and the tone knobs the right way. You know, like you can fake that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, no, definitely cool. Yeah, we definitely could keep deep in Diver, and I know it's getting a little late for
Yeah,
For
this has
IEO.
been
It's
awesome,
just-
man. This
yeah.
is the longest
Yeah.
we've ever gone.
I apologize for talking your guys'
No,
you guys'
yeah.
No,
ear
you're
off.
just-
You're a
This
fountain,
is-
you're a fountain
yeah,
of
we-
information.
I'd
man.
go
Yeah.
longer, but I'm gonna fall asleep any minute.
Seriously, thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been an absolute blast. I've had such a great time just
Yeah.
talking shit and talking music with you guys.
And we got to get each other's numbers so that we can trade booking agents and.
absolutely,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
have to invite you into my podcast too because I have more questions.
absolutely. Man, I'm so
and
yeah.
his
Yeah,
their
he'll go
podcasts are
long.
like 3 hours long.
Yeah. At least you're taping it here now. Is that your home base now?
For right now, some of them.
That's fine. That's you got. No worries. Yeah. So Devin does.
I don't have
show
a
here
set. I just travel to wherever I need to go.
Yeah.
to
Gotcha.
set up.
Have
Gotcha.
podcasts will travel. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh, we gotta do our wrap up. Ooh.
All right, so